Crash landing. The vast emptiness of space shimmered with countless stars, a deceptively peaceful backdrop to Princess Zara's desperate flight. Her sleek silver spacecraft cut through the darkness, engines straining as she pushed them beyond their limits. Alarms blared throughout the cockpit, warning lights flashing urgently across the ship's holographic displays. "Computer, status report," Zara commanded, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her veins. The ship's AI responded in its calm, emotionless tone, multiple systems failing, hull integrity at 43%, fuel reserves critically low. Recommend immediate landing on nearest habitable planet. Zara's hearts raced, all three of them. Her homeworld of Lyranis was light years behind her, consumed by a brutal coup that had toppled her family's millennia-long reign. She was the last of the royal line, carrying with her the hopes of her loyalists and the key to restoring peace to her people. A small blue-green planet appeared on her view screen. "Computer, analyze that world," Zara ordered, her crystalline eyes narrowing as she studied the approaching sphere. Planet designation: Earth. Atmosphere: breathable. Indigenous population: pre-interstellar. Warning: landing protocols compromised. Crash imminent. Zara steeled herself. It wasn't an ideal situation, but she had no choice. "Initiate emergency landing sequence," she commanded, bracing for impact. The ship plummeted through Earth's atmosphere, its hull glowing red-hot from the friction. Zara fought to maintain control, but the damaged systems made it nearly impossible. Trees rushed up to meet her as the craft plunged into a dense forest, carving a destructive path through the wilderness before coming to a violent stop. Silence fell, broken only by the hiss of cooling metal and the distant calls of startled wildlife. Inside the wreckage, Zara lay unconscious, her delicate lavender features marred by cuts and bruises. The ship's emergency beacon flickered weakly, its signal barely penetrating the thick canopy above. Miles away, in a small clearing, a golden retriever named Max raised his head, ears twitching. The dog, with intelligent brown eyes and a shaggy coat, had been enjoying a camping trip with his owner, Sarah. Something in the air felt different. A faint scent unlike anything he'd encountered before tickled his sensitive nose. Sarah, a veterinarian in her early 30s with kind eyes and a mess of curly brown hair, noticed Max's sudden alertness. "What is it, boy?" she asked, reaching out to scratch behind his ears. Max whined softly, his tail wagging with nervous energy. He looked towards the dense forest, then back at Sarah, clearly trying to communicate something important. "You want to go for a walk?" Sarah asked, chuckling. She glanced at her watch. "Well, I suppose we could explore a bit before it gets dark." She grabbed a flashlight and her first aid kit, force of habit from years of treating injured animals, and set off into the woods with Max leading the way. The golden retriever moved with purpose, nose to the ground, occasionally looking back to make sure Sarah was keeping up. As they ventured deeper into the forest, Sarah began to notice signs that something was amiss. Broken branches littered the ground, and there was a faint smell of ozone in the air. "Max, what have you found?" she murmured, her curiosity mixed with a growing sense of unease. Suddenly, Max barked excitedly and took off running. Sarah jogged after him, pushing through the underbrush until she stumbled into a small clearing. What she saw there made her gasp in disbelief. A massive object, clearly not of this world, lay half buried in the earth. Twisted metal gleamed in the fading sunlight, steam rising from its hull. Sarah's mind reeled as she tried to process what she was seeing. "It can't be," she whispered. "A spaceship." Max barked again, this time with urgency. He was pawing at what appeared to be a hatch on the side of the craft. Sarah approached cautiously, her heart pounding in her chest. Years of working with injured animals had honed her instincts. Something or someone inside needed help. With trembling hands, she examined the hatch, searching for a way to open it. To her surprise, it slid open at her touch, releasing a hiss of pressurized air. Max whined softly as Sarah peered into the dimly lit interior. What she saw inside made her breath catch in her throat. Lying amid the wreckage was a figure that was undeniably alien, yet hauntingly beautiful. The being had a humanoid form, but her skin was a soft lavender hue, with intricate phosphorescent patterns swirling across her exposed arms. Long silvery hair fanned out around her head, shimmering with an otherworldly iridescence. Sarah's medical training kicked in, overriding her shock. She reached out, checking for signs of life. To her relief, she felt a pulse, rapid, and unlike any she'd encountered before, but undeniably there. The alien's chest rose and fell with shallow breaths. "Hey there," Sarah said softly, unsure if the being could understand her. "I'm here to help. Can you hear me?" The alien's eyes fluttered open, revealing irises of swirling gold and violet. She blinked in confusion, then focused on Sarah's face. When she spoke, her voice was melodic, but filled with pain and fear. Where am I?" To Sarah's amazement, she could understand the alien's words. Some kind of universal translator, she guessed, like in the sci-fi shows she loved to watch. "You're on Earth," she replied gently. "Your shit crashed. I'm Sarah, and this is Max," she added, gesturing to the dog who was watching the scene with rapt attention. "We're here to help you." The alien attempted to sit up but winced in pain. "I am Zara," she said, her voice growing stronger. "Princess of the Lyranian Empire. I need to hide. They'll be looking for me." Sarah's mind raced. An alien princess on the run. It sounded like something out of a movie. But the fear in Zara's eyes was real, and Sarah knew she couldn't just leave her here. "Okay, Zara," she said, making a quick decision. "Let's get you somewhere safe. Can you walk?" With Sarah's help, Zara managed to exit the ship. She leaned heavily on the human, her legs unsteady. Max circled them protectively, his tail low but wagging slightly. As they made their way slowly through the forest, Sarah's mind whirled with questions. Who was chasing Zara? What would happen if they found her? And what in the world was Sarah going to do with an alien refugee? They reached Sarah's campsite just as the last light of day faded from the sky. Sarah helped Zara into the tent, making her as comfortable as possible on a sleeping bag. "I need to cover your ship's tracks," she explained. "Will you be okay here with Max for a few minutes?" Zara nodded weakly, her hand resting on Max's head. The dog had taken an immediate liking to the alien princess, sensing her need for protection. Sarah smiled at the sight before heading back into the woods. Using branches and leaves, she did her best to camouflage the crash site and obscure their trail. It wasn't perfect, but it would have to do. As she worked, the enormity of the situation began to sink in. She, Sarah Mitchell, small-town vet, had just made first contact with an alien species, and now she was harboring a fugitive princess from outer space. What had her life become? When she returned to the campsite, she found Zara sitting up, engaged in what appeared to be a one-sided conversation with Max. The dog sat attentively, his head tilted to one side as if he understood every word. "And so I had no choice but to flee," Zara was saying. She looked up as Sarah entered the tent. "Your companion is a wonderful listener," she said with a small smile. Sarah couldn't help but chuckle. Max has that effect on people, and aliens, apparently. "How are you feeling?" "Better, thank you," Zara replied. "Your atmosphere is denser than I'm used to, but I'm adapting." She paused, her expression growing serious. "I owe you an explanation, Sarah. My presence here puts you in danger, and you deserve to know why." Over the next hour, Zara told her story. She spoke of Lyranis, a world of crystalline cities and soaring spires, of a peaceful empire that had stood for thousands of years, and of the coup that had shattered that peace in a single bloody night. "They call themselves the Void Collective," Zara explained, her voice tight with emotion. "A faction that believes our empire has grown weak through peace. They want to conquer, to expand aggressively into new star systems." She closed her eyes, pain etched across her delicate features. My parents, the Emperor and Empress, they were killed in the initial attack. I barely escaped with my life. Sarah listened in stunned silence, trying to wrap her mind around the scale of the conflict Zara described. Interstellar empires, space battles, it all seemed so far removed from her quiet life on Earth. And yet, here was living proof of it all, sitting in her tent and petting her dog. I carried with me the Stellar Codex, Zara continued. Well, you might think of it as a combination of our most advanced scientific knowledge and the access codes to our defense systems. If the Void Collective gets their hands on it, they'll be unstoppable. Millions of worlds could fall under their dominion. Including Earth, Sarah said quietly, the implications sinking in. Zara nodded gravely. Your world is still hidden, unknown to the wider galaxy. But if the Collective traces my ship here, she trailed off, leaving the dire possibilities unspoken. A heavy silence fell over the tent. Max, sensing the tension, rested his head on Zara's lap. The alien princess smiled down at him, gently stroking his fur. I've never encountered a creature like Max before, she said softly. On my world, we have robotic companions, but nothing with this level of warmth. Sarah smiled, grateful for the momentary lightening of the mood. Dogs have been humanity's companions for thousands of years, she explained. They're loyal, loving, and often smarter than we give them credit for. As if to prove her point, Max's tail thumped against the tent floor. A thought struck Sarah. Zara, you said you barely escaped. Will your people be looking for you? Is there any way to contact your loyalists? Zara's expression fell. My ship's long-range communications were damaged in the attack. I had hoped to repair them after landing, but she gestured helplessly, indicating the crash. Sarah took a deep breath, weighing their options. Okay, she said finally. Here's what we're going to do. Tomorrow morning we'll break camp and head back to my house. It's secluded enough that we should be able to keep you hidden while we figure out our next move. Zara looked at her with a mixture of gratitude and concern. Sarah, I can't ask you to take on this risk. If the Collective traces me here, then we'll face it together, Sarah interrupted firmly. I can't in good conscience leave you to handle this alone. Plus, she added with a wry smile, I'm pretty sure harboring an alien princess makes me an accessory at this point anyway. A small laugh escaped Zara's lips, a musical sound that seemed to lighten the very air around them. I'm not sure your Earth laws cover this particular situation, she said. Her expression grew serious once more. Thank you, Sarah. Your kindness, it gives me hope. Perhaps our peoples are not so different after all. As they settled in for the night, Sarah's mind raced with plans and contingencies. How would she explain Zara's presence to her neighbors? How could they possibly hope to contact Zara's allies or repel an alien invasion? It all seemed impossibly daunting. But as she drifted off to sleep, Sarah felt a strange sense of excitement beneath her fear. Her life had been forever changed by this chance encounter in the woods. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she knew she couldn't turn back now. With Max's comforting warmth at her feet and an alien princess sleeping peacefully beside her, Sarah Mitchell prepared to dive headfirst into an adventure beyond her wildest dreams. Little did she know, high above the Earth's atmosphere, a sleek black ship shimmer aired into existence. On its bridge, a figure cloaked in shadow studied the redouts of Zora's faint distress beacon. Prepare for planetfall, a cold voice commanded. The hunt begins. Echoes of a dying star. The morning sun cast dappled shadows through the forest canopy as Zara and Max made their way back to civilization. The alien princess had donned some of Zara's spare clothes, a hoodie and jeans that looked oddly mundane on her ethereal form. Her silvery hair was tucked under a baseball cap, and she'd used her advanced tech to create a shimmer field that muted her lavender skin to a more human tone. Remember, Sarah whispered as they approached the outskirts of town, if anyone asks, you're my cousin Zoe visiting from Sweden. Zara nodded, her eyes wide, as she took in the sights of the small Earth town. Your dwellings are so solid, she mused. On Lyranis, our cities float on cushions of anti-gravity. Sarah chuckled, then froze as she saw her neighbor, old Mrs. Henderson, watering her garden. The elderly woman squinted at them suspiciously. "Good morning, Mrs. Henderson," Sarah called out with forced cheerfulness. "Lovely day, isn't it?" "Who's your friend?" Mrs. Henderson asked, peering at Zara. "Oh, this is my cousin Zoe. She's visiting from Sweden," Sarah replied, praying the old woman wouldn't notice anything amiss. Zara stepped forward with a graceful bow. "Greetings, Elder Henderson. May your garden flourish under the blessed light of Sol." Mrs. Henderson blinked in surprise, then smiled. "Well, isn't that nice? You Swedes are so polite." As they hurried away, Sarah whispered, "Maybe tone down the alien princess vibes a notch." Zara looked confused. "But I thought Earth monarchies were led by queens. Is not an elder female the highest form of respect?" Sarah sighed. This was going to be more complicated than she thought. Once safely inside Sarah's cozy country home, Zara's eyes darted around in wonder. She ran her hands over the wooden furniture, marveling at its organic texture. "Fascinating," she murmured. "Your people still use plant matter for construction." Yeah," Sarah replied, realizing how primitive her home must seem to an advanced alien. "So, what's our next move? How do we contact your people?" Zara's expression grew serious. She'd pulled a small device from her pocket, a metallic sphere that hovered in the air, projecting a holographic display. "This is the Stellar Codex," she explained. "It contains not only the scientific knowledge of my people, but also the quantum encryption keys for our subspace communications network." Sarah's eyes widened. "So we can call for help?" Zara shook her head. "Not directly. The Codex is designed to protect itself. It will only interface with Lyranian technology of royal caliber. We need to find a way to boost its signal and piggyback on your planet's existing communication infrastructure." Sarah ran a hand through her hair. "Okay, that's a lot. I'm a vet, not a techno-wizard. How are we supposed to do that?" Max, who had been quietly observing, suddenly perked up. He trotted over to Sarah's laptop and pawed at it, whining softly. "What is it, boy?" Sarah asked, opening the computer. To her amazement, Max used his nose to click on a bookmark, a forum for amateur radio enthusiasts and conspiracy theorists that Sarah had stumbled upon during a late-night internet rabbit hole. "Quantum Whispers," Sarah read aloud. "A place for those who know the truth is out there." She looked at Max in disbelief. "How did you even?" "You know what? Never mind. Zara, I think Max might be onto something." As they scrolled through the forum, they found a thread discussing strange signals detected in the upper atmosphere. One user, going by the handle Starchild42, claimed to have built a device capable of intercepting and amplifying these mysterious transmissions. "This could work," Zara said excitedly. "If we can locate this Starchild42 and use their technology in conjunction with the Stellar Codex, we might be able to establish contact with the Lyranian resistance." Sarah nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and trepidation. "Looks like Starchild42 is hosting a meetup for like-minded truth seekers this weekend. It's about a 3-hour drive from here." "Then we must attend this gathering," Zara declared. "The fate of 2 worlds may depend on it." As they made plans for their road trip, none of them noticed the sleek black drone hovering silently outside the window, its red eye gleaming as it transmitted data to its masters high above the Earth's atmosphere. Aboard the Void Collective's stealth ship, Commander Vex studied the holographic projection of Sarah's house. His dark eyes narrowed as he watched the human and the exiled princess interact. "Interesting," he mused, his voice a low growl. "The little princess thinks she can hide among these primitives." He turned to his second-in-command, a cyborg with glowing blue circuitry etched into her gray skin. "Prepare a strike team, Synapse. We'll let them lead us to the Codex, then eliminate all witnesses." Synapse nodded, her augmented eye whirring as it focused. What of the indigenous population, Commander? Our presence risks violating the galactic non-interference protocols. Vexilaf was cold and mirthless. The old laws die with the old regime's synapse. This mudball will be a fitting first conquest for the new Lyranian Empire. His gaze returned to the hologram, zeroing in on Sarah's face. Besides, I'm curious to see how these humans fight. It's been too long since I've had a worthy challenge. As night fell over the small town, Sarah, Zara, and Max settled in for an uneasy sleep. Tomorrow would bring a journey into the unknown, with the fate of two worlds hanging in the balance. Little did they know, dark forces were already closing in, setting the stage for a confrontation that would change the course of human history. In the quiet hours before dawn, a meteor streaked across the sky, or so it seemed to drowsy stargazers. But this was no celestial rock. The Void Collective's advanced scout ship had entered Earth's atmosphere, its cloaking technology rendering it nearly invisible to human detection systems. As a new day dawned, the pieces were set. A cosmic chess game was about to begin, with Earth as the unsuspecting board. The next move belonged to an unlikely trio: a small-town vet, an alien princess, and a golden retriever with a knack for the extraordinary. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see if its improbable alliance could stand against the coming storm. Quantum whispers and cosmic echoes. The old Chevy truck rumbled down the highway, its bed loaded with camping gear and high-tech alien gadgets concealed under a tarp. Sarah gripped the steering wheel, her knuckles white, as Zara fiddled with the radio. Max lounged in the backseat, his head hanging out the window, tongue flapping in the breeze. "I still can't believe we're doing this," Sarah muttered. "Road-tripping to a conspiracy theorist meetup to save the galaxy." Zara's eyes widened as she stumbled upon a classic rock station. "Fascinating. Your planet has music that transcends language barriers. This rhythm, it resonates with the very quantum fabric of spacetime." Sarah couldn't help but smile. "That's just AC/DC, princess. Wait till you hear Mozart." As they drove, Zara used her advanced knowledge to explain concepts that would make even the most brilliant Earth scientists' heads spin. She spoke of quantum entanglement highways, dark matter communication relays, and the cosmic web that connected all sentient life across the universe. "Your people are on the verge of a great awakening," Zara mused. "The theories of your Einstein, your Hawking, they scratch the surface of truths my people have known for millennia. But you have something we've lost: a boundless creativity, an ability to think beyond established paradigms." Sarah absorbed it all, her mind reeling. "So, you're saying humans have potential?" Zara nodded solemnly. "More than you know. It's why the Void Collective fears worlds like yours. Unshackled imagination combined with advanced technology, you could reshape reality itself." The weight of this revelation hung heavy in the air as they pulled into the campground where the Quantum Whispers meetup was taking place. Tents and RVs dotted the landscape, and people milled about in t-shirts emblazoned with UFOs and cryptic symbols. "Remember," Sarah whispered, "we're just fellow truth seekers. No mention of actual aliens or galactic wars." Zara nodded, pulling her cap lower. "I shall do my best to, how did you put it, blend like a chameleon consuming a smoothie." Sarah sighed. "Close enough." As they made their way through the crowd, snippets of conversation floated past. "Government's been hiding the truth about Sasquatch DNA. Chemtrails are actually crystallized thought forms from the fifth dimension. Lizard people control the stock market through telepathic insider trading." Sarah felt a headache coming on. How were they supposed to find one credible lead in this sea of tinfoil hats? Suddenly, Max's ears perked up. He let out a sharp bark and took off running, weaving through the crowd with purpose. "Max, wait!" Sarah called, she and Zara hurrying after him. They found the golden retriever sitting at the feet of a young woman with wild purple hair and more piercings than Sarah could count. She was hunched over a device that looked like a cross between a ham radio and a lava lamp. "Well, hello there, handsome," the woman cooed, scratching Max behind the ears. She looked up at Sarah and Zara. This your dog? He's got great taste in humans. I'm Sky, also known as Starchild 42. Sarah's heart leaped. Starchild 42. We've been looking for you. I'm Sarah, and this is Zoe. We rate your posts about the strange signals you've been detecting. Sky's eyes lit up. Oh man, you would not believe what I've been picking up lately. It's like cosmic jazz, man. Frequencies that shouldn't exist, carrying data patterns that defy explanation. Zara leaned in, her scientific curiosity piqued. These signals, could you show us your equipment? Sky beamed. Thought you'd never ask. Come on, I'll give you the grand tour of my mobile command center. She led them to a beat-up Volkswagen van covered in psychedelic artwork. Inside, it was a maze of computers, antennas, and blinking lights. Sky launched into a rapid-fire explanation of her home-brewed tech, most of which went over Sarah's head. But Zara listened intently, her eyes sparkling with recognition. This is incredible, Zara breathed. You've essentially created a primitive quantum entanglement detector using Earth materials. How did you even conceive of this? Sky shrugged. Dreams, mostly. I see schematics when I sleep, you know. It's like the universe is trying to tell us something. We just need to listen. Sarah and Zara exchanged meaningful glances. Could Sky be tapping into some hidden human potential, just as Zara had suggested? Their silent communication was interrupted by a commotion outside. People were pointing at the sky, shouting in a mixture of fear and excitement. Sarah's blood ran cold as she saw what had caught their attention. A sleek black ship hovered above the campground, its hull shimmering with otherworldly energy. It was like something out of a sci-fi blockbuster, but terrifyingly real. Oh no, Zara whispered, her shimmer field flickering as fear disrupted her concentration. They found us. Sky's jaw dropped as she took in Zara's true appearance. Holy quantum fluctuations, Batman. You're an alien princess on the run from an evil empire bent on galactic domination. Sarah finished. Yeah, it's been a weird week. Before Sky could respond, a beam of light shot down from the ship, materializing into a squad of menacing figures. Leading them was Commander Vex, his black armor adorned with pulsing red circuitry. Princess Zara, his voice boomed across the campground. Surrender the Stellar Codex, or we'll reduce this pitiful gathering to atoms. Panic erupted as campers fled in all directions, but Sarah, Zara, Max, and Sky stood their ground. What do we do? Sarah asked, her voice shaking. Zara's eyes narrowed with determination. We fight. Sky, your quantum detector, can it be converted into a transmitter? Sky nodded, already tapping furiously at her keyboard. Give me 5 minutes and a miracle. You'll have 3, Sarah said, grabbing a frying pan from the van's tiny kitchen. Zara, Max, let's buy her some time. As the unlikely heroes stepped out to face the Void Collective, the air crackled with tension. 2 worlds collided on this humble campground, Earth's first explosive contact with alien life. Commander Vex sneered. How touching. The princess makes her last stand with a dog and a primitive. His hand went to the energy weapon at his hip. Any last words before I send you to join your parents? Zara stood tall, her royal bearing shining through despite her earthly disguise. Just 3, Vex, she said, her voice ringing with authority. Humanity, asterisk, 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 yeah. With a fierce battle cry, Sarah charged forward, frying pan held high. Max lunged, teeth bared, and Zara raised her hands, summoning reserves of psionic power she didn't know she possessed. The battle for Earth had begun, with the fate of 2 worlds hanging in the balance, and in a rusty Volkswagen van, Sky raced against time, her fingers flying over keys as she sought to turn conspiracy theories into planet-saving reality. As energy blasts lit up the sky and the ground shook with otherworldly combat, one thing became crystal clear: the universe would never be the same again. Cosmic throwdown at the tinfoil coral. The campground erupted into chaos as the epic showdown between Earth's unlikely defenders and the Void Collective unfolded. Sarah's frying pan clanged against advanced alien weaponry, each impact sending shockwaves of improbability through the fabric of the universe. "Take that, you intergalactic fascists," Sarah yelled, her kitchenware connecting with a satisfying thunk against a Void soldier's helmet. The alien went down hard, his high-tech armor no match for good old-fashioned cast iron and righteous fury. Meanwhile, Max had latched onto Commander Vex's leg, his teeth sinking into the supposedly impenetrable armor. Vex howled in pain and outrage, trying to shake off the determined golden retriever. "Insolent Earth beast," Vex snarled. "I'll turn you into cosmic dust." But Max held on, growling fiercely. In that moment, he wasn't just a dog. He was the embodiment of every loyal companion who had stood by humanity's side throughout history, from the first wolf to approach a campfire to the last therapy dog comforting a lonely soul. Zara was a lavender blur of motion, her latent psionic abilities manifesting in dazzling displays of power. She hurled bolts of shimmering energy, created force fields to protect fleeing campers, and at one point seemed to bend the very light around her to become invisible. "I don't suppose," Sarah panted between swings, "that you could have mentioned these superpowers earlier." Zara looked equally surprised. "I had no idea. It seems the unique properties of Earth's magnetosphere have amplified my natural abilities. Fascinating. Less science, more smashing," Sarah retorted, ducking an energy blast. As the battle raged, conspiracy theorists who hadn't fled were live-streaming the entire event, their years of preparation for this moment finally paying off. You see, one man shouted into his phone camera, "I told you the government was hiding the truth about alien princess refugees." Across the globe, social media exploded. #alien invasion, #fryingpan revolution, and #golden retriever of destiny became worldwide trending topics in a matter of minutes. Inside Sky's van, the purple-haired genius was in a world of her own, her fingers a blur over her jury-rigged equipment. Sweat beaded on her forehead as she raced against time. Come on," she muttered. "Quantum entangle like you've never entangled before." Outside, the tide of battle was turning. Despite their bravery, Zara and Max were outnumbered and outgunned. Commander Vex, having finally shaken off Max, raised his weapon for a killing blow. "Your pitiful resistance ends now, Princess," he sneered. "Any last words before I claim the Stellar Codex and begin my conquest of this backwater planet?" Zara stood defiantly, placing herself between Vex and her human friends. "You'll never win, Vex. The spirit of Earth is stronger than any weapon you possess." Vex laughed coldly. "Spirit? Pathetic. Allow me to show you the true power of the Void Collective." He pressed a button on his gauntlet, and the air itself seemed to tear open. A swirling vortex of dark energy began to form, threatening to swallow everything in its path. "Behold," Vex cried, "the quantum singularity drive. With this, I can erase this entire planet from existence." Sarah's eyes widened in horror. "Sky," she shouted towards the van. "Now would be a really good time for that miracle." As if on cue, Sky burst from the van, holding aloft a device that looked like a disco ball mated with a satellite dish. "Eat quantum supremacy, space fascists," she yelled, activating the device. A pulse of multicolored energy exploded outward, washing over the battlefield. For a moment, everything seemed to freeze. Then, reality itself began to ripple and warp. The Void Collective soldiers flickered like bad holograms, their weapons disintegrating in their hands. Commander Vex's quantum singularity imploded, collapsing in on itself with a pitiful whimper. What is this?" Vex stammered, staring at his malfunctioning technology in disbelief. Sky grinned triumphantly. "I call it the Schrödinger Scrambler. It creates a field of quantum uncertainty, basically putting all possible realities into superposition. Your fancy alien tech can't handle the paradox overload." Zara's eyes lit up with understanding. Of course, you've weaponized the observer effect on a macro scale. That's revolutionary. Zara blinked, struggling to follow. So, we won. As if in answer, the remaining Void Collective forces began to retreat, teleporting back to their ship in a panic. Commander Vex, his armor sparking and malfunctioning, pointed at Zara with a shaking finger. This isn't over, Princess. The Void Collective will return, and next time, we'll be ready for your human tricks. With a final burst of energy, Vex vanished, leaving behind nothing but scorched earth and bewildered conspiracy theorists. A cheer went up from the gathered crowd, which had swelled as people emerged from hiding to witness history in the making. Foams captured the moment Earth officially entered the galactic stage, not with a whimper, but with a resounding, improbable bang. As the adrenaline of battle faded, Sarah sank to her knees, the trusty frying pan slipping from her grasp. Max bounded over, covering her face with enthusiastic licks. Good boy, Sarah laughed weakly. Who saved the world? You did. Yes, you did. Zara knelt beside them, her shimmer field long since deactivated. Sarah, I can't thank you enough. You and Max, you've shown a courage that would shame the greatest warriors of Lyranis. Sky joined them, cradling her improvised quantum device. So, does this mean I was right about everything? Because I have some theories about Bigfoot I'd love to run by you guys. Before Zara could respond, a new sound filled the air. A deep, resonant hum that seemed to vibrate at the frequency of creation itself. The crowd gasped as a shimmering portal opened in the sky, and from it emerged a fleet of crystalline ships that put the Void Collective's dark vessels to shame. Zara's eyes filled with tears of joy. The Lyranian resistance. They received our signal. As the majestic ships descended, their hulls gleaming with fractal patterns of light, Earth collectively held its breath. The next chapter in human history was about to be written, and it promised to be beyond anything they could have imagined. Sarah looked at the motley crew around her, an alien princess, a quantum hacking conspiracy theorist, a golden retriever with a hero complex, and herself, a small-town vet turned intergalactic freedom fighter. She couldn't help but laugh. Well, she said, I guess we're going to need a bigger frying pan. As news helicopters circled overhead and social media servers threatened to melt down from the sheer volume of #FirstContact posts, one thing was abundantly clear. The universe had severely underestimated the power of human determination, canine loyalty, and good old-fashioned cookware. The cosmic adventure was just beginning, and Earth was ready to show the galaxy exactly what it was made of. Galactic diplomacy and main warfare. The world watched in awe as the crystalline ships of the Lyranian resistance touched down on the campground, their iridescent hulls refracting sunlight into dazzling prismatic displays. As the dust settled, a hush fell over the crowd of humans, conspiracy theorists, and newly minted alien believers. A hatch on the lead ship opened with a melodious hum, and out stepped a figure that made even Zara gasp in reverence. Adorned in robes that seemed to be woven from starlight itself, the newcomer radiated an aura of wisdom and power that transcended species. Greetings, people of Earth, the figure's voice resonated, somehow understood by all present regardless of language. I am High Counselor Zenith of the Lyranian Resistance. We come in peace and gratitude. Sarah, still clutching her battle-worn frying pan, stepped forward. Hi there. I'm Sarah. This is Max Sky, and I guess you know Zara. Welcome to Earth. Sorry about the mess. Zenith's multifaceted eyes twinkled with what might have been amusement. On the contrary, Sarah of Earth, you have done your planet a great service. Your actions here today have rippled across the cosmic consciousness. As if on cue, smartphones across the globe pinged with a universal notification. The official United Nations Twitter account had just posted, at UN, attention citizens of Earth, first contact has been achieved. This is not a drill. #WeComeInPeace #FryingPanDiplomacy. Within seconds, The internet exploded into a frenzy of memes, theories, and hastily made TikTok videos set to the X-Files theme song. Meanwhile, back at the campground, Zenith continued. The Void Collective's defeat here, broadcast across the galactic data streams, has inspired rebellions on 100 worlds. You've struck a blow for freedom that will echo through the ages. Sky, who had been furiously taking notes on her arm in glitter pen, looked up. Wait, broadcast? You mean the whole galaxy was watching us? Zenith nodded solemnly. Indeed, your internet breached the quantum barrier during the battle. What do you call them? Ah yes, memes, that are spreading faster than light across the cosmos. On cue, a holographic display flickered to life, showing a montage of alien civilizations reacting to Earth's first contact. A tentacle being on a water world, wearing a crude tinfoil hat and holding a sign that read, "I told you so," in bioluminescent script. Crystalline entities on a gas giant, reenacting Sarah's frying pan assault using levitating geometric shapes. A hive-mind consciousness manifesting a planet-sized image of Grumpy Cat with the caption Void COLECTIVE, more like VOID collective in an OP. Sarah's jaw dropped. We've gone intergalactically viral. Zara, who had been conferring with her fellow Lyranians, turned to the group with a mix of joy and urgency in her eyes. My friends, the war is far from over. The Void Collective still holds much of Lyranian space, but thanks to you, we now have a fighting chance. Zenith nodded gravely. Indeed, and that is why we've come with a proposal. Earth stands at a crossroads. You can choose to isolate yourselves, to pretend this encounter never happened, or, Sarah, Sky, and half the crowd prompted in unison. Or you can join us, become part of the Galactic Alliance. Your unique blend of innovation, adaptability, and mean warfare could turn the tide in this conflict. A murmur ran through the crowd. Sky's hand shot up like an eager student. Quick question. Does joining the Galactic Alliance come with cool space weapons and the secrets of the universe? Zenith's expression was unreadable. It comes with responsibilities, dangers, and challenges beyond imagining. But also, yes, cool space weapons are included. Well, I'm sold, Sky grinned. Sarah looked down at Max, who wagged his tail encouragingly. She thought of her quiet life as a vet, of the safety of her small town. Then she looked at Zara, at the new friends she'd made, at the literal universe of possibilities opening before her. Oh, what the hell, she shrugged. Earth's in, but I have conditions. Zenith raised an eyebrow, or what passed for one on a being of pure energy. Oh. Sarah held up her frying pan. This becomes our official diplomatic tool. All the Earth ambassadors must be trained in the art of panfu. Agreed, Zenith said without hesitation. Max gets a fancy space collar, with a built-in universal translator. Max barked his approval. Done, Zenith nodded. And most importantly, Sarah's eyes narrowed, Earth maintains control of its meme production. No galactic censorship of our dankest creations. Zenith actually chuckled. My dear, your memes may be the most powerful weapon in the universe. We wouldn't dream of interfering. As if to underscore the point, a Lyranian ensign approached, looking puzzled. High Counselor, we're receiving a transmission from the Void Collective flagship. It's just an image of a human in a strange pose, with the text, You Jews Qot or I seek out all LET, Void nerds. Sky pumped her fist. The revolution will be meme-ified. And so, with the eyes of the planet, and indeed, the galaxy, upon them, Earth's unlikely heroes prepared to take their first steps into a larger universe. News channels scrambled to cover the unfolding events. Social media influencers pivoted to become self-proclaimed xenofluencers, and governments worldwide hastily assembled task forces on intergalactic diplomacy. As Sarah, Zara, Sky, and Max boarded the Lyranian ship for their first off-world mission, a thought occurred to Sarah. Hey Zara, she asked, What do you think the chances are that this whole adventure ends up as some sort of viral entertainment series across the galaxy? Zara smiled mysteriously. Who knows? In a universe of infinite possibilities, anything can happen. Perhaps somewhere out there, our story is already being told. The ship's engines hummed to life, preparing to catapult them into the star-studded unknown. Earth's first galactic adventurers were ready to show the cosmos what humans, and one very good boy, were truly capable of. As they lifted off, Sarah couldn't help but grin. "All right, universe," she whispered. "Let's see what you've got." Earth is entering the chat, and we're bringing the dankest memes in the galaxy. The adventure was far from over. In fact, it had only just begun.